Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, whether you're tuning in on the radio dial in Mississippi or Atlanta, or to one of our online affiliates around the world. We're glad to have all of you with us today. We're excited to welcome Candy Clark to our program today. She's an actress that's been known for years now for her roles in television as well as film. She's celebrating a brand new project this year in the month of October. It's called Cold Moon. We're going to talk to her about that, what it's been like for her to see the way that her fans have responded to her work over the years, and what she hopes you as a viewer are able to take away from the new project. And we also will let you guys know how you can stay connected with Candy as well. And if you're just now finding out about Cold Moon, we'll tell you at the end of our segment how you can stay connected with updates. But Miss Clark, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
The pleasure is definitely all.
Are you recording from Atlanta, you said?
I'm actually in Mississippi. We were on the air in Atlanta as well as on the radio dial in Mississippi as well.
Wow, because it's opening at the Plaza Theater on October 6th. I'm looking at a schedule.
Exactly.
Cold Moon is,
right.
That is.
Right, exactly, and we're going to definitely be talking about that. Ms. Clark, I wanted to start off by talking about, though, your career for sure, because as I said, people have gotten to know you over the years for a variety of projects, whether we're talking about thrillers or, shows, even like what we're talking about here with Cold Moon, and even comedies as well. I mean, what has it been like for you in your career to not only do what you love, but to see the response over the years?
Well, I think my two most famous films are American Graffiti and The Man Who Fell to Earth with David Bowie. Mm-hmm. And American Graffiti has a huge fan base. And I've met a lot of fans from that movie by doing hot rod shows. And that's a huge world. I don't know if you've ever been to a hot rod show, but it's a huge world. There's some shows that have 7,000 and 8,000 cars that you can look at during a weekend. So it's a really, large world. And so I've met fans that get teary-eyed talking about American Graffiti because that's where they took their girlfriend on the first date, and then they got married, and they're still married, so it means a lot to people. The Man Who Fell to Earth is a film that has a huge popularity because of David Bowie, and it's had a real resurgence since he died, but there's a lot of interest in that. And I don't know, I did, The Blob, and I got blobbed in a phone booth. Hate to break it to everyone, but yep. But Cold Moon is my most recent, and I'm really proud of it. It hasn't been seen by the public. It's opening October 6th, and then it'll be, I guess, on streaming after that or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, I'm really proud of it. I got to play a grandma this time, and that was quite the challenge, and a very sad grandma.
There's a lot of sadness in this film, and it's funny
hearing you
talk
sadness.
about right, and the thing is
I'm
well
laughing now
with
because it's only a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right, exactly. It's only a movie, but to go back to some of the roles that you mentioned. I mean, I think what is so great is that not only, of course, have those roles have been memorable for so many fans, but it does kind of remind people of not only, of course, what you've been able to do as an actress, but also the longevity you've been able to have. Has that been surprising for you that when you kind of look back at it all that you've been able to do in your career as an actress?
Well, it's like it's like different episodes of the same story. And so it's some of these films I look at, and it's like I'm looking at someone else because it was, quite a few years ago. So, it's very interesting. Before I got into acting, I was modeling, and I'm glad I kind of got the lucky break to get into acting because, heck, who knows what I'd be doing if I were still attempting to model. But with acting, you can grow old with acting, which is, a lot of people have had very long careers. Mine has started in the 70s, the early 70s, and I most recently was in the new Twin Peaks. I had a couple of episodes in that, and this Cold Moon movie, and so it goes from the 70s to 2017, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. It is. And I think, that in itself says a whole lot, about not only, of course, the consistency, even though, as you said, your work has spanned some years. I mean, the thing is that, not many can say that they began when you did and that they're still in the industry. There is, though, a theme, I think, when I was prepping for your segment, Ms. Clark, I thought about that you were not afraid to go there when it comes to, especially the more darker roles. I mean, have you always been attracted to those, or are they seen as a challenge for you?
Well, the more, if you watch TV today, it's all about dark roles. It seems to be about corruption and drug addiction and murder, and I don't know, it just seems to be across the board very, very dark. And apparently that appeals to people because they tune in. American Horror Story, zombies. It's actually the mood, I guess, of the country. And, those are more interesting parts to play rather than, the Harriet Nelson part, where you're just happy and gleeful and, all is well with the world. But the darker roles, I don't know how good it is for people's psyches, but they're way more fun to play.
Yeah, and I think they're fun for a lot of people to watch. Those are not the ones that I typically gravitate toward, Ms. Clark, for myself, but I do challenge myself. Yeah, exactly. I challenge myself sometimes to be able to watch, and we're going to talk more about Cold Moon. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Ms. Candy Clark to our program today. She's been a part of some amazing projects over the years. She named a few of them earlier that you probably know her from. More recently, as she mentioned, you've seen her as a part of the new Twin Peaks, and now, of course, the big movie that's releasing in October that you all will be able to get video on demand. It's called Cold Moon. For our Atlanta audience, as you heard Ms. Clark say, there is going to be a showing there. We'll remind you of that at the end of our segment. So I guess an obvious question would be for you then, what is it that attracted you about Cold Moon when you heard about it?
Well, the writing, first of all. I'm always attracted to great writing. And I played one of the main characters, and what really attracted me was it was given to me like a few days before they were, leaving for location. So there was a lot of pressure on making a decision, reading the script, reading the book, and then deciding to go to Louisiana around the Christmas holidays. And so I like that quick, decide, let's go kind of thing. That was really, really good because, I was just going to spend Christmas at home and, eat a lot of food and stuff like that. And then suddenly I was in Louisiana. So that attracted me. The writing attracted me and the character, Grandma was her name, or Evelyn Larson. And the location attracted me, and Slidell was only about 30 minutes from New Orleans, so that was a plus. But just playing this grief-stricken grandma and trying to hold that mood, because the story takes place in a couple of days, like 3 or 4 days. So I had to hold this despair, and that was quite a challenge for like 3 weeks. So that was quite a challenge. And also, Griff First was the director. I had no idea who he was, but he's an actor, and now he's a director, but he is so good. I kept telling him, you're as good as Nick Rogue. You really are. And I don't know if he ever believed me, but I found his directing ability was excellent. I so enjoyed working with him. And playing this grandma, I had to get a little, I didn't want to dye my hair gray and do all of that stuff because trying to get that out. So the hairdresser and I found this little wig, and it was $129, real cheap, but it looked great on. it looked like hair. It kind of reminded me of my mom's hair when she got older. So then the costume, the hair, the costume, and, I had to change my voice a bit and walk like my feet hurt. That's what I had images in my mind, walk like your feet hurt. And so it was just everything fell into place. And I love the script. It was very close to the book. If anyone's read the book, the script and the story is very, very close to the book, which is the same writer that wrote Beetlejuice and The Nightmare Before Christmas. So it's good writing, good script. So that's what I liked about it.
Yeah. And that says a lot. I mean, the writing has a lot to do with it, and we're going to be talking with more of the cast and those behind the scenes with this as well. I think the other thing that got me about the film is that, there actually was a story. I think so many times you think back at movies and you think, okay, what was the point? What was? There, and you're right. There is definitely a story here, and I think when you're talking about the time, that is one of those things that too kind of makes it interesting because it takes us back to before we had all the technology that we have today. So you're not going to see people, talking on social media, that way, and being able to do things that way. Is that another thing that kind of was of interest to you, the way that they were able to kind of stay true to the original story?
Yes, that's what I really liked about it because, there's great classic horror movies or supernatural movies, and thriller movies like Psycho, where the story really unfolds and you get to know your characters. And I really like a good story rather than just a bunch of flash cuts. And, that's like looking at People magazine. Picture, 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 picture. Oh, a little story. Picture, picture, picture. This is unfolds. But it's not draggingly unfolding. It goes quick, but you do get to know your characters, and you know who to root for and who is the bad guy and who is the good guy. And I for this kind of film, I'm very proud of this film, and that's why I told Griff, if you want me to do any publicity, I'd be happy to. And I'm fussy. I don't just promote any old thing, but on the other hand, I don't do any old thing. So, this would really appeal to me.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge to hold that mood for, all the time I was on location.
Yeah. When Inquisitor
I never thought I could cry on cue until I did this film.
Okay. Now, I was just going to say, Ms. Clark, that when Inquisitor.com reviewed the film, one of the things that they said about you was this: providing scenes filled with glaring heartache, Candy Clark epitomizes what it's like to mourn a life lost to senseless violence. When you hear things like that, and when you hear people talk about how you made them feel, do you feel as though you did exactly what you wanted to do in this role and with this film?
I did exactly what the role called for. And I'm very proud because, like I said, I've done a lot of movies, and there's been a lot of crying in different movies, but this is the first time where I had to be sad consistently. And, because the story takes place in like 4 or 5 days, not very long. So you don't go out of your grief, when someone very close to you is killed. You don't just suddenly, are all perky and happy, a few scenes down the road. No, you're devastated. You've been broadsided. You've been hurt terribly. And that was the challenge, because normally on the set, I'm joking, and when they say cut, I'm like, we're kidding around, and, I'm pretty social on the set and having a good time. But this time I had to pretty much isolate myself and stay in my room and not hang out with the other actors, only because I didn't want to lose the despair, which, is not easy for me to maintain.
Right,
so,
for sure. Yeah, and there is,
you
I think,
being sad for 3 weeks and act, when they're calling you, okay, Candy, you're wanted on the set, then you got to walk over there and then rehearse and all of that. So, it was quite the challenge, and I never knew if I'd be able to come up to the challenge, but I was even surprised myself, really.
Yeah. Do you find, too, I'm glad you said that, because do you find that is what keeps it fun for you after all this time, being able to find roles like this in Cold Moon that do excite you and do intrigue you?
Yes, and then you don't know if you're going to be able to pull it off. And somehow it this all fell into place. Now, I can't guarantee, it happening every time, but this really fell into place. And I credit Griff First, the director. I don't know if you're going to interview him, but he is very talented. Yeah. And I keep telling him he needs to do a more serious work. He does a lot of this shark stuff, but he's really talented in telling a good story and drama and all of that. And he needs to find some really good stories to tell.
Well, I know he loves being able to hear things like that coming from you for sure, and I know that people will definitely enjoy the film. I'm going to ask you this question, and I do so cautiously because of a conversation we had right before we went on the air here. Social media is a big part. I mentioned what this film does not have because of course, it being set in, the end of, the 1980s. The book itself coming out, in 1980. Social media is a big part of our world, though. A lot of our audience, around the world listens to us online. Of course, people are tweeting about things as they have been about this film. The film has been definitely utilizing social media. What has that been like for you to navigate when it comes to being able to connect with the world online?
Oh, I'm an old pro at it. I've been on Facebook for as long as it's been around. I love it. I do a little Instagram, but I find that not as interactive. I like the interactiveness of Facebook, and I like promotion, and it's no big deal. I'm many years involved in social media. I love it. I like to take photographs and post them. I like to talk about graffiti, the man who fell to earth, the blob, anything. I have a public page. So to me, it's a lot of fun, and I thoroughly enjoy it. So if this comes out on demand, that's great. That's that's the modern new way. So let's just keep going. That's great.
Right.
But it is going to be at some theaters in some where you want to go in and sit in a theater and have popcorn and a soda and sit with a bunch of other people. It's going to be out that way too.
Exactly. And we're going to let our audience know how they can stay connected for sure. Yeah, online to be able to find out where they'll be able to see it for sure. Again, everyone, Candy Clark has been our guest for this segment. We've been talking with her not only about what it's been like for her to do what she loves as an actress, but also some of the roles that she's been able to become known for. One of the new projects, though, that you all be watching in the month of October is called Cold Moon. I have not read the book yet, Ms. Clark. I have seen the film.
Oh, the book's really good.
Is it, well, see, I typically, I'm sometimes scared, I have to say, because especially when I like a movie, when I read the book, I'm like, okay, I like the movie, but it doesn't really remind me of the book. So you really fell in love with both.
Yes, excellent writing on both the script and the book.
Yeah, so that definitely gives us something to be able to look forward to for sure. So I'm glad to hear you being able to say that. Now, as you heard, of course, Ms. Clark mentioned that there's not only, of course, the film going to be available on demand, but it also, of course, will be available for you all to be able to see. Now, the best thing to do, and this is what I've been telling people, if you want to find out how you can be able to see the film, stay connected with the film online. One of the best ways that they've been definitely keeping people updated is on Twitter. So if you guys go over to twitter.com/Cold Moon Movie, you can not only see the trailer for the film there, but also keep connected.
It's really good. I love the trailer.
It is
really,
for sure.
It sets the mood. Yes. It really does.
Yeah, and so they can be able to watch the trailer there, as well as, of course, be able to find out how they can actually see the film, as you heard Ms. Clark mentioned, in theaters. Use the hashtag #ColdMoon when you all are posting about it, so then they can be able to stay connected with you all as well. And Ms. Clark, you mentioned to me before we went on that you have a Facebook page. We definitely want to invite our audience to be a part of your public page that you have there. So make sure you all are following Candy Clark there to stay connected with her projects as well. Ms. Clark, really appreciate the time. It's been great speaking with you, and I look forward to having you back on the program again.
Anytime.
Thank you so much for that.
Anytime you want me.
Thank you. And we definitely thank our good friend Clint at October Coast for setting up this conversation with us for today. And thank all of you for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live today. You all make it a great one.